What's up guys, welcome back to another video on code violation. Today we'll be checking out the Australian Open draw for 2025.
It's tennis nearer the gods!
So as of yesterday we had the Australian Open draw ceremony and the third round of qualifying has finished. So we're going to be checking out the most interesting matchups and the most interesting
Coming to the tournament, the top seed Yannick Sinner faces a really difficult first round match.
Ridiculous.
Nico Jarry, who was I think the 18th seed last year at the tournament, he might be at like, what is he, like
34 in the world.
34. But still, that is a tough match. He did lose to the first set to Jarry in Beijing this year.
Oh, yeah.
So on hard courts, Jarry, huge serve, huge forehand. It's going to be tough, but I think Sinner gets that one.
Yeah.
Another interesting match, we got Berrettini versus Norrie, two former top 10 stars that are kind of getting back to the top.
Yeah, Matteo got to 6 and Norrie got to 8.
Yeah, and none of them had a great start to the season. Norrie kind of didn't do well at Hong Kong or Auckland.
Norrie's also wearing Babolat gear, so I don't think he's going to be doing much on that. Next interesting matchup that we've got is Zhang Zhizhen versus Holger Rune. It's an interesting one because Holger Rune is 13th seed. Zhang is unseeded. I think he's sitting around 45, 50
like
in the world. So you never know. Upsets can happen, but I think it will be quite an even contest, to be honest.
For the last exciting first rounder in the first quarter, Tsitsipas Mikkelsen. So Tsitsipas 11th seed, we expect him to get through the first rounds fairly easily, but Mikkelsen is a dangerous player. He's obviously part of the next gen players. I think he finished like second, I think, in the next gen race last year to Jeddah. And Tsitsipas needs to watch out there because Mikkelsen is a deadly player.
And Tsitsipas also lost to Shevchenko in United Cup, so
Exactly, so it's not looking good for him, huh?
yeah.
Some unseeded players to watch out for in this quarter. We got Berrettini. Obviously, I'm sure he'll be seeded next year, but he's still getting back up to the rankings. Diallo, he's a strong young player coming up the rankings.
He beat Fils this last year, sorry.
Yeah, that's right, he did too. Bublik, I mean, it's a bit of a coin toss whether Bublik is actually going to show up and play the tournament properly.
It just depends if he actually wants to try, because he can play top 20 tennis or he can play top 200 tennis depending on literally what he feels like. So yeah, and the last unseeded threat in the first quarter of the draw is Botic van der Zandschulp.
He opens against Diminor, so that's a tough first test for Diminor there.
Yeah. For the second quarter of the draw, our first interesting match is going to be Taylor Fritz versus Jenson Brooksby. So Jenson Brooksby is a steroid pumping idiot and no one likes him. He's got 0 bad. And he's going up against Taylor Fritz, and we both know that Brooksby's obviously going to win that one.
It was interesting to see because Brooksby hasn't played like a tour match in ages. So, I mean, when he was playing properly, I don't know if that's because of the influence of any special substances, but he was playing all right back then.
So next is Morphis versus Gio Impechperka. So 2 first serves. Morphis is one of the most creative players on tour. I think Impech is probably going to win that because he's just better. Like, there's not much else to say.
So another 2 interesting matches in the second quarter. Shelton versus Nakashima. So Nakashima has kind of a knack for taking down top American players. I think he beat Paul, maybe Fritz last year as well. A really solid game. Shelton needs to be careful. I think he takes that win. But yeah, that is a juicy first round match. We got the one that everyone's just been talking about.
Rublev Fonseca.
Rublev against Joao Fonseca, the wonder kid from Brazil versus Rublev, who's been struggling a bit recently. Rublev is. He would have been so happy when he saw that he got a qualifier in the first round, and then seeing that
getting Joao is not the qualifier you want to get.
Nah, so that's, I don't know if that's bad luck, but like, yeah, that should be a good match. Rublev almost can't afford to lose that because of his form recently. He had a bad run at Nito and lost first round at Hong Kong, so he's on a 2-match losing streak. Fonseca's on, I think, like an 18-match winning streak or something like that.
Yeah, he's quite good at the sport.
2 bagels in qualifying. Yeah. He is red hot at the moment, and Rublev is better be ready.
So for the unseeded deep threats in the second quarter of the draw, we've got Denis Shapovalov. I think, did he get top 10? No.
Yeah.
10? Yeah.
Number 10.
Yeah, number 10. Then next after that, Matteo Arnaldi. He's an upcoming Italian. He's quite known at this point, but he's pretty good. I think he might be seeded next year, so he's definitely a threat. We've also got Corentin Moutet. He is my favourite player by far. I'm actually likely going to be sitting in his box for AO, which is quite cool because he invited me for that when I was a ball kid. And over to you.
Finally, I've got Fabian
Marozan.
Fabian Marozan. He plays Zibor Vilch in the first round, and then I think he's kind of near Tiafoe and Rublev. Those seeds should watch out because he's got a thing for beating top players.
Yeah, Shang Junsheng himself said he's an underrated threat.
That's right. Yeah, and he did take down Rublev in Hong Kong in the first match of the season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's definitely one to watch out for. Moving on to the third quarter of the draw. This top of the draw, this section, we got Novak Djokovic, 10-time champion here, but it's going to be a tough one if he's going to get his 11th. He's the 7th seed, which sounds a bit weird. Djokovic 7th seed.
Sounds so wrong.
He's got Bastianini in the first round, which is already a mouth-watering encounter. Bastianini, he's got, as of now, gone to the Auckland semis. Yeah, that's right. And he's beaten Mickelson. Had a good run at Next Gen. Yeah, he's one of those young players who's coming up, and I think Djokovic should take care of him, but yeah, he is a threat nonetheless. We've got Lehechka Lee too. So Lehechka is one of the best hardcourt players in Australia. He got a title in Adelaide last year and a title in Brisbane this year.
The Brisbane title was such a fake win. He got 2 walkovers against 2 players that would have beaten him.
Nonetheless, it's hard to deny that he plays really well in these conditions.
He's a good player.
In the heat and on the hard courts. But Lee too is a good player, got a wild card.
He took a set off Alcaraz.
Yeah, that was a memorable match.
Last year.
US Open. Why not? I think Lee too's he's got a big game, man. It should be a good contest to watch. Okay,
so for the third out of our 4 most interesting matches in the third quarter of the draw, we've got Jack Draper versus Mario Navone. So Navone is not seeded, but in terms of Argentinian tennis, he is up there.
Yeah, that's right.
Jack Draper is someone that a lot of people, a lot of channels on YouTube right now are saying he's going to break top 10 this year. I can't really see that happening, but I do think this will be an interesting match. And then for our last most interesting match in the third quarter, we've got Shevchenko versus Alcaraz. So Shevchenko recently took down Stefanos Tsitsipas at the United Cup. It doesn't say so much about how good he is, given how unstable Tsitsipas is on court. Like he can beat Sinner, or he can lose to Kamil Mashrak, who is a random Polish qualifier. So it doesn't say that much, but I do think it might be interesting. And then Carlos Alcaraz is Carlos Alcaraz. All good.
So looking at some dangerous names in this quarter, it's going to be, again, tough for Djokovic. He's got 2 players close to him in the draw.
Pavel Kotov.
I was more thinking Opelka and Mahatch, who have both beat him recently. Opelka's unseeded here. He's got a qualifier in the first round. I think it's the Belgian... Onklin. I personally have never heard of him, but I think Opelka, if he does get through Djokovic is going to want his revenge. But yeah, he's a dangerous player. We also got Fabio Fognini over against Dimitrov, 2 kind of tour veterans going at it. I think Fognini beats Casper Ruud at Wimbledon. Obviously, Ruud on grass is just a joke, and he's better.
Just like Ruud on clay.
Yeah, totally. I think Casper Ruud's better at golf than tennis on grass courts.
Yeah.
But Fognini, dangerous player, used to be quite good. Not quite at that level anymore, but nonetheless dangerous.
Okay, another unseeded threat will be Thanasi Kokkinakis. So he has a way with working the crowd. For our last one in this quarter, we've got Nuno Borges. Not much I can say about him. He's not a very fascinating player, but he can play the sport pretty well. So. Okay, for the last quarter of the draw, it is much more interesting than any of the quarters that we've mentioned so far. So there are some big names, good seeds, Zverev's in there. And for my first interesting match, I'm going with Sebastian Baez versus Arthur Cazaux. So Cazaux had a very good year. Who did he beat? He beat someone good.
At the Australian Open?
Yeah.
He beat Holger Rune.
Yeah, he beat Rune. That's right. Oh, I forgot about that one. So he can play very, very good tennis. He's got some weapons. He's got quite a decent serve and a stable backhand. So he's one to watch out for. And then Sebastian Baez is quite underrated for being a seed. So I don't think he gets enough said about him.
Mm-hmm.
Another very interesting match will be Zverev versus Pouille.
Oh yeah.
So Pouille used to be like really good. He's beaten Federer before when he was in his prime. He's fallen down a little bit. I think he's in the top 200, but upper end of it.
She got a wild card to this tournament.
Yeah, he didn't even qualify. So the tennis would be interesting. I think Zverev first round AO. There's some sort of problem there because he played a 5-set match against Lucas Klein first round last year.
Yeah.
So he might be. I think he'll take care of Pouille, but it might be an interesting match and Pouille might take a set.
Yeah. My interesting matches, I got Casper Ruud versus Jamie Munar. Ruud's not the greatest. It's not as bad as on clay, but he's not great on hard courts.
Yeah.
I think he should get through just because he's a top 10 seed. But Munar, they beat Musetti and Borges in Hong Kong.
He had a good run.
Yeah, and he's already taken home quite a few points in the first week of the season. I think he's around 6 in the race to Turin right now. which is not a bad start for the start of the season. So I think Munar can take it up to Ruud. Then I got Struff versus Auger-Aliassime.
Someone has Auger-Aliassime going into the top 10.
If you guys haven't seen our 2025,
so check out that.
Yeah, 2025 predictions. I did put Felix finishing 10th, so I reckon he can kickstart the season here in Australia. Struff is absolute massive serve, and he's beaten a lot of top players before. But yeah, Felix coming in as the 29th seed, pretty low, but I think he can take care of that. Some interesting players to watch out for. Jakub Mensik, he is on fire at the moment. The Czech team had a crazy season. Beat Dimitrov, beat Rublev. He made the quarters of Auckland. Good run at Next Gen, and he's got. If Ruud and Mensik both get through the second round, it's Ruud Mensik, which is
that's going to be a really good second round.
It will be a real test for Ruud to see how good he's going. I've also got Jerry Shang Jinsheng. Unfortunately, hasn't been physically 100%.
Yeah,
he was
fever at Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong, and he was really ill in Jeddah as well. If he's fit for the Australian Open, I can see him going far, and he's quite close to some seeds, so that should be interesting to watch.
So for my top 2 most interesting players in this quarter of the draw, I've got Kei Nishikori. So I think he'll be interesting, but personally, I don't think he'll get that far playing best of 5 matches because he's just older. He's 33 now. And then another one is Nick Kyrgios. Hard not to mention him. Let's be honest. He's got Jacob Friendly. So he beat Liam Brody a couple of years ago. Last time he played AO in the first round. So that's something. He's got a good record against Brits in the first round of AO.
Yeah.
Not much else I can say about that.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. That was our review of the 2025 AO draw. Main draw kicks off on Sunday, and it'll be interesting to see how things go.
Yeah, I'm actually flying down tomorrow. Hopefully I can catch some of the first round action. Some interesting matches in there that I can watch. I'm especially looking forward to Koh-Lanta. So yeah, hopefully I catch some of those. Tell us what you think in the comments. Right. Thanks for watching. See ya.
See you in the next video.